What's up, everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, the Witcher-themed card game, and we are doing another one of the tournaments with friends, and now Dolan has been running away with the past few tournaments. However, we've mixed things up a little bit this time. We have a new contestant. We have Pavel swapping in for Jer, so we will have myself, Dolan, Pavel, and Peach. And since we have a new person participating, it seems like we ought to go for another random matchup here and see who ends up going up against whom. So, I think the way we'll do it is I'm going to roll a random number generator, and if I get a 1, it'll be us against Dolan. If I roll a 2, it'll be us against Peach. And if I roll a 3, it'll be us against Pavel. So, let's check it out. Alright, and look what I got here. So I got a 1, so that means that we are going up against Dolan in the first round. So it'll be a repeat of the past 2 championship matches in the first round this time, though. So that means that, well, we might be able to dethrone him a little bit early this time and see if we can make him be the singer. Alright, so let me send an invite to Dolan. So I'm trying to think as to what we might expect to come from Dolan here. He has played in the first round Skellige, I believe, or the first tournament, I should say. He played Skellige. I think that is generally his strongest faction. Second time, he surprised me a little bit by going with monsters. And I was thinking of mixing things up a little bit myself, perhaps trying a little bit of Nilfgaard. However, I feel like, if we're going up against the champion here, then we got to bring our A game. So maybe we go back to Northern Realms, which personally I would say is my strongest, or at least the faction that I'm most comfortable with playing as. So let's give that a try. And pressure's on. We'll see what he decides to bring to the table here. Might he be thinking the same thing, or is he looking to mix things up as well? He's going with Skellige. Okay. As we might have thought.
What is it I fancy today?
Okay. So, let's see what we have here. Admittedly, this deck I have modified a little bit since our previous tournament, specifically for the Power Swap seasonal event, and so that means that some of these cards are maybe not necessarily the things that I would ideally have under a more standard rule set. So we'll see how this goes here. Getting rid of the card that guarantees that we get our highest valued unit is a difficult decision to make, and admittedly that is also perhaps a little bit muscle memory from Power Swap League, but that is largely because I am a fan of this Doppler card. And, or at least in Power Swap, it has been amazing for me as a first card to play. What it does here is it takes additional power, it gets boosted by whichever card we choose. So on this occasion, I chose one of the humans. I believe it was ROUNDZ here. And for however many of that type of card we have in our hand, it gets boosted 1. So we have a bunch of humans in our hand. 1, 2, 3, a bunch. And so that bumped him all the way up to now 8. In addition to using our character ability, the Royal Inspiration. So, he's played the On-Crate Longship, which deals 1 damage every time we play a card. That is a strong early card to play as well. What I'm thinking here is we might deliberately go for a short round. Doppler is very good in terms of how quickly it gets boosted. I think that ROUNDZ is similar in that he will also get boosted a lot in the first round here, even after he gets hit by that. And then I'm thinking we'll probably play Redanian Elite after that for another quick boost. And then we're probably going to pass if we have the lead, because that would allow us to hold on to many cards, and I am a fan of the long rounds when we're playing as Northern Realms. Gives us plenty of time to do things like boost our Trident Infantry or Nathaniel Pastodi. At the moment, we don't have much in the way of cards to boost things. We have lots of targets to get boosted. But that might be something we'd look for in round 2 or round 3. And I don't suspect that Dolan will be anticipating for us to take such a short first round here. Let's see what route he opts to take. I would personally say, in my opinion, that is one of his weakest cards. But I think that's a good sign that he is maybe assuming that he has plenty of time to build up his strength. Let's play the Redanian Elite here. Will, of course, take a little bit of damage from the On-Crate Longship, but you see here already, we have a strong advantage. We can boost further with our leader ability, and also with tactical advantage because we went first. So even more reason why that becomes possible. Because we went first, so we got that card. And none of our cards are 9 strength, so that means he can't throw in a surprise Geralt here, which is also probably a good sign. So this is looking a lot like this is going according to plan, and we will likely pass unless he plays some amazing card here that suddenly brings him out in front of us. I do believe he's picked up his fair share of new cards. He was in the shop before this match that we just started, so I think there's a chance that he picked up some cards immediately before this and may not have time to have thought about them all that much or practice with them at all. So there might be a chance that he could have some misplays in here, and that might be an opportunity for us to strike. So I think this did go according to plan. We have a 23-11 lead here. So if he wants to catch up with us, presumably it's going to take him several cards to do that. And that means that we'll have card advantage, potentially a lot of card advantage for rounds 2 and 3. We do also have ROUNDZ here, who comes back onto the battlefield whenever we play a soldier in rounds 2 or round 3. And so at that point in time, he'll have only 1 strength. He doesn't get to boost himself in that instance. So it's not a huge boost, but it is a small advantage. You never know. Could be the difference maker. So in some ways, we've sacrificed 3 cards to win this round, or to play this round. He is going for more. And we will draw 3 cards at the beginning of the next round, so we'll be at our maximum amount. Oh, and Dolan did not successfully take the lead after 1 card, which means he's going to at least be at a 2-card disadvantage for rounds 2 and or 3. And that is significant. Because 1 card advantage, depending on how good your cards are, you might be able to make that up. I think that as soon as you get to the 2-card disadvantage area, then suddenly things become so significant that it is very difficult to make that work out for you. Like at this stage, now even after playing 2 extra cards, he still has not caught up to us. So we might be talking about him going into a 3-card hole here. I'm assuming that he will still opt to try to win this round here. He could potentially say that's enough and pass. He's not doing that. So I think this worked out just the way we wanted it to. And that, yes, Dolan is taking this first round victory, but that is fine. We will have way more cards than him for rounds 2 and round 3, presumably as well. And that should be enough to help us ride that momentum to a victory here. Because, of course, the person who wins 2 out of 3 rounds is the overall victor. This is another card that I put in specifically for the Power Swap seasonal event, and I'm not entirely sure it's something we're going to want here. Let's swap it out, and that is arguably our best card. It is the booster we were looking for, in addition to Anna Strenger here, and Temerian Drummer, so we actually got exactly what we were looking for in many ways. We do still have both Geralts as well, and another resetting card here. Sometimes I find that having Geralt, Jurden, and Artifact Compression here are a little bit redundant, because we can reset and lock a unit here, and Geralt Jurden also resets units, so unless you have a ton of units to reset, split out amongst 2 different rows, then oftentimes I find that's not terribly meaningful to have them both in your hand at once. But I think we have enough other good cards, and we have enough card advantage at this point. I'm not too concerned about that. He did play a very good card here, On Crate Longship, and that would suggest that he is not looking to sit this round out. Now, sometimes what I see people do when they know that they are at a serious card disadvantage... Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play... do we want to go hard this round or go hard the 3rd round? This is our best card right now. Basically, do we play it now or do we play it next round? I think let's play Anna Strenger and Trident Infantry instead. Let's go for that. And like I said before, when we play a soldier, we'll get ROUNDZ back. Yeah, we'll likely play Anna Strenger next turn, or Temerian Drummer. But yeah, what I'll oftentimes see people do when they know that they've taken a significant card disadvantage into round 2 is they will deliberately pass almost immediately. Maybe they'll play 1 card and then pass, or sometimes they even just pass immediately. That way, they get the opportunity to draw 3 cards for the next round, and depending on how many cards your opponent has, like we were starting off with 10, so we obviously wouldn't draw any more cards going into round 3 because that's the maximum, whereas Dolan would have gone up 3 and gotten at least closer to where we were. He opted not to go that route here. That was a pretty good play. He got rid of ROUNDZ and dealt a lot of bleed, Trident Infantry. Now, of course, we will be able to hopefully make up for said bleed by also boosting Trident Infantry. We want Anna Strenger to be boosted herself, because when she's inspired, meaning when she's above her base 4 strength, she can boost people on both sides. And so ideally we would have Trident Infantry here, and either another Trident there, or Nathaniel Pastodi there. But he's going pretty aggressive against Anna Strenger. It looks like he is trying to take her out. So, what I'm wondering is, might we take a little bit of a different approach here? And instead of going with another Trident, or another Nathaniel over here, what if we, at least temporarily, opted to go with a Temerian Drummer, and we will get ROUNDZ back. So that's actually one downside of Dolan having targeted this guy, is every time we play a soldier, and he's in our graveyard, he's going to come back. So he's difficult to get rid of like that. For the most part, when he's on the battlefield, you just want to leave him alone. Let him stay there. Focus on instead taking out the Tridents and the Strangers. And so here we see that after we did get that boost from both our hero ability and from Temerian Drummer, Anna Strenger is back up to full power, and that does mean that Temerian Drummer will be able to boost her up to 5 at the end of this turn, bring her into that inspired territory. Now, that does mean that we can't put anyone there in the meantime, because then Temerian Drummer won't be able to give that boost to Anna Strenger, but soon that will be an option. Now, he decided to target Trident instead this time round, and so Trident's not looking great. Does have 1 bleed on him and only 1 power left. However, Anna Strenger will boost such that he will stay at 1 strength. He will not actually go down. And, however, he does have a lot of damage out here with a couple of these longships that are more than capable of taking Trident out, because they can deal 1 damage per turn. So I think what we do here is we anticipate that he's likely to take out this Trident, so we put a second Trident instead. And we say to him, sure, want to take out the first one? We'll just start using the second. And that is something that we can sort of afford to do because we have more cards than him. So we know that even if he does opt to do that, it's okay. It's not the end of the world if we throw an additional card out there, even if it's a little bit duplicative. So he has used his abilities on those ships now. What does he do this time? Leading for 4 turns, opts to go for the Drummer, and plays a second ship. So what that means is that we're going to take a lot of damage whenever we play a card. So we don't have a lot of options other than playing cards right now. But let's think about, he's also running out of cards here. So I think we're fine leaving Temerian Drummer as is. Temerian Drummer is still going to be alive by the time this round is over, unless he opts to start to target it here. However, for the most part, it's already served its purpose. It has boosted Anna Strenger above her base 4 power, so it has succeeded. I think what I'm going to go for here is for Stennis, and then we could play him either melee or range. I think let's actually play range. Same idea as what we had previously, when we were wondering if Dolan might take out one of our Tridents, the target of our boost. That way, if he does opt to take out Trident, which is granted now becoming rather difficult given how many times we boosted him, we do still have another person to slide right in and take his place. And it does also mean that we are starting to build up a fair bit of an advantage here now. He's targeting Stennis instead, which honestly is fine. It is Trident that we would prefer to keep, because Trident does deal 1 damage every time he gets boosted, so that is our preferred target. And he is boosting one of his ships there so that it can continue to pepper us with little bits of damage every turn. Don't think that's a huge concern. In fact, if we really wanted to, we could use this as an opportunity to use Artifact Compression on it. I think Dolan only has one card remaining. We will get boosted 2 this round. 1 on this side from, or actually 3 I should say. 1 on this side for Mana Stranger, 1 on this side for Mana Stranger, and then Temerian Drummer will also boost Mana Stranger. However, Temerian Drummer will take 1 damage from the bleed, so in all, we will go up from 18 to 20 if we were to play nothing this turn. I still think that is probably too much of a risk at this stage for us to go that route. However, I don't think we want to play any of our really strong cards here that we've been holding on to. Let's save those for the next round. So I think that our weakest card, at least in this circumstance, is to use Artifact Compression. It does give us a 6 power lead at the moment. And it does mean that Dolan cannot use his ability on this card. That's a fairly good card there. It does damage itself when he plays it. It is not quite enough. So that does, of course, mean that we can pass here, and we will carry a 4-card advantage into round 3. So this is what we were hoping to do, was get that card advantage and hold on to it through round 2. And so this means that Dolan is going to need to have an amazing hand and play amazingly well to pull this one off. And we have held on to some pretty good cards ourselves. Dandelion's obviously a fantastic card for us to pick up here, allowing us to play 2 cards. Verdanian Knight gains power the longer the round is, and therefore, when you have a lot of cards, it's stronger. This is still, it's a medium-length round, and that we're going to have a fair amount of time to play our cards. Dolan has fewer cards, so he will take fewer turns. And Alzur's Double Cross as well allows us to play our highest-powered unit. That's pretty awesome. That, at this stage, would be Domineer of Troy, which is, well, our highest power unit. Has Defender and Shield, meaning it is a good way to block vulnerable cards from taking damage, and I think that is a great opportunity for us to play Corvo. Give it a little boost. It is pretty vulnerable. Just a 4-power card after the boost, and I would expect that if Dolan has anything capable of dealing damage, he will try to direct it toward this guy here, including his character ability, including cards that deal damage, like this one. Unfortunately for him, that card does not have the ability to use its skill right off the bat, unless we have 2 damaged units out here, and we don't. So that means we'll have just enough time to bring in Troy and block Corvo from taking any damage. That is crucial, because the longer we can keep this guy alive, the more charges he gains. He gains a charge every time someone plays a card. So both us and Dolan. So theoretically, he's gaining roughly 2 charges per turn. And that means that once we do get someone like Nathaniel Pastodi out here, we can apply all these boosts, and we can apply all those bleeds as well. Might not even have enough time for all those bleeds to take effect, but I think it will still be, hopefully, our winning move. We did also pick up Princess Pavetta here, which is my favorite round 2 card, because it allows you to get back a lot of the cards that you played in round 1 and have them ready to go in round 2. Granted, it's round 3 now, so that means that we aren't going to have the opportunity to redraw those cards. It is still a relatively high base power unit at 6, though, so that's not bad. And here comes all the boosts. So, 1 from our hero, 6 from Corvo, and those will just continue to rack up the longer this goes. And if we really wanted to, theoretically, we could deliberately hold off right around now because, well, we kind of want Dolan to play another card to apply bleed, at least possibly to the other card. I mean, it's random as to which one it applies it to. Obviously, this guy already has more bleed than he has power, so theoretically he would go down. Almost the case on this guy. As for Geralt, he cannot hit Nathaniel because he's blocked by Domineer of Troy, and that is why that was so important for us to get him down there. He protected Corvo from other sources of damage, like this guy here, and he also protected Nathaniel Pastodi from Geralt. So it allowed us to boost away to our heart's content, and now we can do things like make sure that we take out Geralt, and you know, maybe we take out the frustration of Dolan having beaten us on a couple of occasions previously on this occasion here, and deliberately, you know, go a little bit BM. So this is what Princess Pavetta would normally do, is allows you to look at your discard pile and say, oh, well, we played a lot of Trident Infantry, so let's get them back in our deck. So that would mean that if we were having a round after this, then we could potentially have those Tridems available to us. However, that's not the case this time because, well, this is round 3, this is the last round. So we'll continue to be very rude. However, this may be the end of it anyway.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
I suppose we technically, theoretically, kind of, sort of should have played this guy in this row because at the moment, Geralt doesn't have anyone to get rid of with 9 or more power on Dolan's side, and Geralt's Jurden actually can only do bad things for us right now because, well, if we reset any of these guys, we're actually healing them. If we reset on our row, then we're actually dealing damage to ourselves. So I think what we do is we play Geralt here, and sure, we'll continue to boost Nathaniel just as we can. And now that Dolan does not have any units in the melee row, what we do is we play Geralt, Jurden here, and just apply it to nothing at all. And then we boost Nathaniel one last time from our hero and one last time from Corvo, and then we call it a match. So, finally we get our chance to get a little bit of payback on Dolan there. He has been dethroned, and that means we are through to the champion match. So let's see who we're up against next. Okay, so the results are in for the other match, and the results are that Peach has defeated Pavel over here, and she's playing with syndicates, bear that in mind. Pavel, I was not sure which action he would opt to use. Looks like he went Scoia'tael. So it'll be Pavel against Dolan for the consolation match. Okay, so let's send an invite to Peach. So it looks like Peach is in the shop, perhaps trying to pick up some last-minute cards to give her a boost. And I think it's a risk whenever you consider doing that, because if you're picking up new cards, then, like I was saying earlier, you might not have the opportunity to practice with them. You might not know how best to use them, and that might be a little bit of a trap. But we'll have to see. That might mean that Peach has a few surprises up her sleeve. Alright, so Peach is ready to go, and I think we still go with the same setup here. We did play Peach once in the first tournament, and I believe we emerged victorious using Northern Realms against Syndicates. I expect Peach to use Syndicates again, and it has been a while though. So I do certainly suspect that even regardless of whether or not she was picking up new cards just then, she probably has picked up at least some new cards since we last fought each other. So we'll have to see what exactly we have in store for us here. It is Syndicate.
You bore me, so vanish.
So let's see what we can do. And I do see that we have some of the cards that made us successful last time, notably Corvo and Nathaniel Pastodi, Tridem, and Temerian Drummer, Dandelion Poet. We love all those. Doppler and Redanian Elite are useful for trying to use a similar first round approach. Let's double check here. We are going first, so we could potentially opt to do that. Not a huge fan of Redanian Knight here. Geralt is good to have, maybe not as a first round card similar with Princess Pavetta, so let's try rerolling that. ROUNDZ, this could end up being more or less identical to our first round against Dolan. Now, no way to know for certain as to whether Peach will be able to counter that, but let's choose a human here, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 humans. I think that might actually be more than we got when we were boosting using the Doppler against Dolan. So at least this first round play is slightly better. We'll see if Peach is expecting the quick round and is ready to play some high-value cards early, or if she's thinking she's playing more for the long term, in which case we might be able to outpace her here. So again, I'm thinking that our next few cards here will be ROUNDZ and Redanian Elite.
Now for my favorite trick.
Ah, and Peach breaks out the peaches.
Been a hard road, hasn't it?
Okay. Noted. Noted. The irony is not lost. I think if we were to play these two in our next 2 rounds, I would prefer to play ROUNDZ next because, like we saw a little bit in the previous round against Dolan, if Peach is able to take him out, there's the possibility that we could bring him back, whereas Redanian Elite is a lot less resilient. In fact, if you get rid of his armor, then he resets and goes down from a 7 to a 1. So definitely, I'm thinking we go with ROUNDZ here. And we'll put him in a separate row just in case Peach has a way of dealing damage to multiple enemies in the same row. And then we'll wait to see who we apply the boost to in the next turn. Might be Redanian Elite, might be ROUNDZ, depending on what Peach ends up doing here.
We'll need Forms N6 CV1265X for that.
Okay, so we have a card that gives her 1 coin per turn, and a card that boosts itself 1 per turn, assuming that she has at least 2 coins, which she definitely does. So this is basically making it so that she can consistently boost this card, which does seem like a bit of a long-term play, so I'm thinking we might be able to pull this off. So we'll play Redanian Elite. I'm not sure it matters too much as to which character we opt to boost here. We'll split it a little bit between different people, just in case Peach has a way of taking down one of these. And again, the hope here is that we can pass. And that is a really good card for Syndicate. Whenever you gain coins, get boosted, and presumably, she'll have lots of ways to gain coins, and therefore, in the long term, this card would become crazy powerful. But again, it does seem like Peach is planning for the long term, whereas we very much plan for the short term. So let's pass here. We have a 13 power lead. We'll see if Peach decides that, okay, we'll take the loss here, not go down in terms of the number of cards she has in hand, or if she goes the route that Dolan went and opts to play more cards in hopes of catching up, in which case we might be able to do what we did against Dolan, and, bring that card advantage into rounds 2 and 3. So, she did have a nice 1-turn way to flip the table on us, playing Geralt and getting rid of one of those cards. That was one of the reasons why I was thinking it might not be great to have cards that are at 9 strength or higher. That was actually the nice thing about what we had against Dolan, was I believe that all of our cards were just under 9, so even if he had Geralt in hand, he was not going to be able to delete one of them like that. I do believe that Peach is still 1 card behind us right now. Yes, we have 10, she is 9, and she did play several of her best cards. So I think that is really our primary advantage here, is the card advantage not going to be a huge deal when it's only 1, but to have Peach already have used a few of her good cards, and for us to still have cards like Geralt, Anna Strenger, Nathaniel, Corvo, Pridums, and Temerian Drummers, and Dandelion in our hand, I like that. So it does put the pressure on us here, because of course, if we lose here, it's over. She's already taken round 1. Let's see what approach she takes.
Do you have a loyalty discount by chance?
Very similar, in fact, to the previous cards that she played. Whenever you gain coins, boost self by 1. So again, it seems like this is a bit of a long-term play. And I was wondering if Peach would opt to maybe take it easy this round and save up for round 3, because she does have that luxury, having won round 1, whereas we do not. But it seems as though that is not the case. I think that means that we have to go pretty hard here. So let's play Corvo. Unfortunately, unlike the game against Dolan, we do not have a way of protecting him at the moment. So we're boosting him. Makes him a little more resistant to that damage in case Peach has any way of dealing 3. That might be just enough for him to hang on. But for the most part, we're just hoping Peach is thinking solely about the cards that boost herself and not about cards that deal damage to us. Because if she does allow Corvo to stay here, things are going to get very difficult for her. So we want her to leave him alone. Okay. This would appear to be another one of Peach's strong cards. Now, the other thing is, admittedly, I have played maybe 3 people with Syndicate decks. It is the faction that I've played the least, so I'm least familiar with the types of weapons that Peach might have. Spawn a Sly Seductress and summon her to this row. That is this card. When you spend 3 coins to gain a shield whenever your opponent plays a unit, boost self by 1. Whoa! Okay. So this card is also going to get boosted very quickly. So I think having cards that can deal significant damage, like Nathaniel Pastodi, is going to be very good for us. Because this is a long-term setup here. We apply lots of bleed over time, and the bleed, of course, takes a little bit of time to wear down Peach's units. But, assuming that she doesn't mess with this setup here, then we should still be able to ideally outpace her. But this is going to be tough.
Ooh, looks like some light green.
That's a lot of units that are going to get boosted. However, I think we still have a way to make this happen. So, we are going to boost the living daylights out of Nathaniel Pastodi. What we're going to do is we're going to play Anna Stranger here to the right of Pastodi. We're going to boost Anna Stranger, which means that now she's inspired. She will boost units on either side, so Nathaniel's to the left, so that will work. Next turn, we'll play a Temerian Drummer in between where Corvo is right now and where Pastodi is right now, meaning he will get double boosted each turn, once from the Drummer and once from Stranger. And we will still have the option to use Corvo, because Corvo does not need to be next to Pastodi to apply his boosts. And then we can also put a Temerian Drummer on the end here. So this is a very high investment strategy here. We are using basically all of our best cards here. But it seems like Peach has a very strong setup, but I think we have to. We can't worry too much about saving cards for future rounds. And that is a soldier there, the Temerian Drummer, which means we get ROUNDZ back. So this is what I mean. Drummer will boost Pastodi. So will Anna Stranger. Corvo can still boost as well. So Pastodi, with luck, by the end of this round will, depending on how long it goes, possibly be as high as 30. It depends if Peach can keep up here, or if she decides to pass. We have now, theoretically, taken the lead, but that is a very strong card, it would seem, at least based on the boost. Gain Vitality for a duration equal to your coin count. Except, she had a lot of coins, she had so many coins that she could boost. She'd use the Tribute and just boost rather than use Vitality. Vitality would normally be the opposite of Bleed. It would take 1 turn and boost you by 1 each turn. However, if you're just outright boosting, then it's instantaneous. That is what we saw there. We do have Herald of Rivia, so theoretically we could delete that card now if we wanted to. I'm not necessarily sure I want to, though, because I think that there are still going to be many other ways in which Peach might be able to boost, and we might want to hold on to Geralt for that reason. However, now we have more or less completed our setup here. Nathaniel's getting double boosted, Pridum is getting single boosted, and we have Corvo adding additional boosts as well. We know that Peach does not have Geralt. That is one of the reasons why we are fairly confident that we can do this, is because at any point in time, if we knew that Peach had Geralt, then she could come in, drop Geralt, and immediately remove him. There are still ways to get rid of him, but it is far less common, and I'm not sure that Peach has any cards that can do it in one fell swoop. But for the most part, Pastodi should be safe here. And at this point in time, after having created this setup here, for the most part, we just want time to pass. We just want additional turns to take place in which to boost these guys and continue to play the war of attrition here. Because it does seem as though we are gaining, what, 2 from... We're gaining, actually, 3. 1 from Temerian Drummer, and 2 from Anna Stranger every turn. And then 2 from Corvo every turn, so we're gaining 5, and we're also dealing damage as well. And that's without even playing any cards. That's just from using abilities already built in. I think here, we're going to try to finish things. We're going to use Neneke, boost like crazy, and we might not even have time to boost with Corvo too. I would like to. We're not going to get the last one in. No, we will. Okay. So we apply loads of boosts, and we hope that at this point, Peach gets the message and opts to pass. Yes, okay. Because we have still a few good cards here that we would rather not have to play. Potentially might have been a little bit of an overinvestment there. It was hard to say for certain. We might have still been able to pass one round earlier and take the victory. We do have one card advantage, though. So that is working in our favor here. We still have Dandelion. That's great. We still have Marion Drummer and Trident Infantry. That's a good setup there. Geralt is a good defense mechanism to get rid of one of Peach's strongest units. We did just pick up Domineer of Troy, who is a good way to stop Peach from messing up our setup here. However, that does mean that maybe drawing our highest unit is not terribly significant anymore, because at this stage it's Prince Dennis, or actually it's Pavetta, which is, yeah, not terribly intriguing, and then of course we just draw her outright. And in exchange we get a card that locks and deals 3 damage. So another setup somewhat similar to Geralt, in that it removes, or at least weakens, one of Peach's best cards. So what I'm thinking here is that, we probably want to get these 2 down as quickly as possible. It is always a risk to play them first, because it is likely that if Peach has any way of getting rid of them, that she'll be looking to do that almost immediately. Now, arguably should have used Royal Inspiration on one of these guys. Does that mean more Peaches? It means more Peaches. But yes, so we did get a lucky 1-round boost on ROUNDZ here, which is nice, but for the most part, the idea is to get Trident down, and we were saving that Royal Inspiration to do this. And theoretically, these guys should outpace Passiflora Peaches, because Peaches gets boosted by 1 each turn. However, we're getting boosted and dealing 1 damage each turn. However, here comes the lock. This was the risk. Opts to lock Temerian Drummer, which, debatable as to which one was better to lock, Temerian Drummer or Trident Infantry. We can boost still with our leader ability, so it is possible. It's going to be less consistent, but it is still possible to get Trident boosted somewhat consistently. And that's the reason why we would have liked to have had one more turn in which to drop this guy down here. I think we probably still will do it, in case Peach has any other ideas. But for the most part, she has shut off this setup here. I'm thinking that we might next turn opt to play Dandelion and see if maybe there's another source of boost down here. Stennis would give a little bit of boost, but nothing as consistent as Temerian Drummer. So we'll see what she has in store. More damage, okay. So probably all the more reason why this was helpful. Put Domineer of Troy out here. Did have the shield, first and foremost, so that actually dealt 0 damage. Okay, and I think we do opt to go with Dandelion here. We could opt to continue to put people behind Domineer of Troy, block them all with his defender ability. It's potentially a little bit of a risk, depending on whether or not we think Peach might have some cards that are somewhat rare, but potentially capable of weakening us if we were to put multiple cards in one row. I don't necessarily think she has those cards, though. That's not really the card we wanted to draw here. If we hide just for a second and see, we could potentially get rid of this Mutant Killer that she just played using Red Haze, although I don't think that's urgent. I think let's actually lock Peaches, do something similar to what she did to us, and take out her way of consistently getting stronger each turn. Cut that off relatively early, so that Peaches doesn't have time to continue to get better. And then what this can do is, by dealing damage equal to an adjacent unit's power, we can basically use Dugaray of Vol to take out Mutant Killer, or vice versa. I'm not familiar with this card. If an enemy unit bleeding for 1 turn, if Insanity was used, damage a random enemy unit by 1 instead. That's a lot of bleeding you got there, Peach. Okay. So we could almost get rid of this guy if we were to use Red Haze on Dugray of Vol and then apply Dugray of Vol's damage to this guy. You'd have 1 power remaining, in which case there's a chance that when we next boost Trident Infantry, it might happen to choose to target this guy. No way of knowing that for certain, though. So I suppose we didn't have any other reason for targeting anyone else other than feeling like it'd be nice to outright take someone out. So let's give it a shot. And then our 2 remaining cards are Geralt of Rivia, which means that we kind of want Peach to play a really strong card here, one that is outright 9 power or higher, which I'm not sure if she has that or not. This is close. On turn in, destroy self? Ah, but pay a coin and get rid of that part, so it's close. 7 strength, there's a chance that last card might boost it, in which case Geralt is probably still our best option to play last. And here, we could, with our Royal Inspiration, either boost one of our cards that has not yet been boosted, in which case that would increase the power of Lyrian Scytheman when we play him next, which is going to be this turn. Or we could boost Trident Infantry, and in that case we would also deal 1 damage along the way. So it is roughly equivalent here. But I think given how we were just talking about how we'd like to get rid of this guy, which unfortunately didn't end up happening, and we actually dealt damage to the person that, if anything, we wanted him to get stronger. So that didn't work out so well for us. And again, it's maybe not great to throw so many units in one row, so I suppose at least this once we'll play someone in the melee row. And Peach would need to have a pretty amazing card to emerge victorious here. Oh, draw a card of some variety. However, I did not have enough time to read what that did, and I noticed that the card is not currently in her hand anymore. So I believe that means that Peach does not have any other cards remaining. She has passed. And so we play Geralt. Geralt's not going to do his special ability of destroying anything 9 power or higher, because there isn't anything with 9 power or higher. However, it is 3 additional strength, and it will be enough for us to take this victory. And so there it is. That means that we have emerged victorious. Finally, we took down Dolan in round 1 after losing to him twice in a row in the championship round. And we went on to face Peach in the championship round, and she put up a good fight there. There were, round 1 she took it, and round 2 and even round 3, there were some questions as to whether she might be able to outpace us. Fortunately, though, we were able to outlast her, and so we've done it. So with that, that means that I now have the option to choose the specific emoji that we opt to have in Discord. It does mean that Dolan is singing, of course. However, it also means that next time round, I'm on the hot seat, and if people manage to beat me, then, well, it's my turn to sing once again, so we'll see if we can come up with anything we want Dylan to sing this time around. So thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you are interested in playing some Gwent yourself, you can check out the link down below. If you sign up with that link, it'll give you a little bit of bonus loot to get you started off. So, I'll catch you next time.